Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing very well. You can see that it has been raining and everybody is happy. The plants are happy, the insects are happy, and I am very happy. You can see that the plants are looking very beautiful. All the dirt has been washed off, and the leaves, the foliage, all the flowers, they are looking so stunning. So you might have realized, those of y'all who have been following me for some time, that I'm in a different setting. This is not my usual garden. I just want to share that this is the OG garden, the original place where I first started gardening. I'm visiting my parents, and it's very happy to see that the plants that I first started planting, they have grown so big, and after after the after a very hot and scorching summer, finally rains are here and all the dirt and the heat has been washed off, and it has been a couple of showers, but the plants are really liking it, and you can see that they are looking really bright and shiny. Today I'll be talking about this croton. You can see that the foliage is pretty nice. It's looking very stunning. The colors are spectacular. And this is after surviving the longest summer of maybe some 4 to 5 months, where the temperature it is on an average around 45 degrees Celsius. And you can see that the plant survived all of that and is doing quite well. Now, I have not been watering it, and just the nature is taking care of everything, and you can see that the soil is pretty moist. However, I do want to point out something that some of the leaves they did burn, which you saw me removing. That during the summer it was extremely hot, and some of the tips of the leaves they burnt. So you can see that some of these tips they browned and they turned crisp and they died. And also the size of the foliage, the leaves, it is not as big because generally it tends to have very big leaves, but since it was summer, it was very hot, the leaves are not so big. So in the later part of the video I will be fertilizing it and I'll be sharing that. So first things first, as you know that crotons are pretty hardy. They do pretty well in the sunlight. They enjoy the sun. If you tend to keep it in a shaded area, the croton will have the foliage on the greener side. But here in this specific case, you can see that it has enjoyed it has really thrived in the sun. It was kept in a spot where received somewhere around 8 to 10 hours of you know light sunlight, if I can say. I don't think that exists in Rajasthan, but still, it was not exposed 100% to the elements. Otherwise the plant would have suffered from serious damage. But it was kept into a more of a sunnier spot where it received good sunlight. Secondly, let's talk about the soil. That the soil is well draining, and like I said, that in the potting mix, I could see that there are some leaf droppings, and there are some small plants growing in, as it is monsoon. So we have lots of other plants growing in the garden, and some seeds may have fallen, and I can see that, and even you can see that there is a seedling growing, but I'll have to remove it, because if we let the weeds or any other plant grow along with some other plant, then of course it starts taking the nourishment, and it's not good for the main plant, and it affects the health of the plant. So keep the soil well draining. For crotons, I must tell you, not just for crotons, but for any plant, that watering is extremely important, because most of the times we tend to over care for a plant, and we think that it needs water, and overwatering causes serious damage, and they are prone to aphids and mealybugs. I have made several videos in which so many of my crotons have been affected, that when we provide more water than it requires, it leads to a lot of fungus, it attracts mealybugs and aphids. So ensure that you're only watering it when the topsoil is dry. Now obviously right now it's monsoon, so I am not watering the plant, but however I will keep an eye and observe that if it's raining too much, I will move the pot into an area where it's not receiving a lot of rainwater, because rainwater tends to leach out the nutrients from the soil. So, and that of course is going to convert the potting mix to an alkaline side, and we do not want that. They like acidic soil, so make sure that it's not receiving an excess of rainwater. So please, we have to be vigilant, and we need to keep an eye to ensure that all the conditions are favorable, so that the plant's health is not getting affected. Also, I am going to remove these twigs and the dry leaves which have been put, because these leaves will start decomposing, and it may lead to fungus, and we do not want that. So make sure that if there are any more twigs, so if there are just one or two leaves, that's all right, but if there are more twigs, please remove. Here you can see that I have some fertilizer over here, and I am just mildly fertilizing the plant, because obviously it's growing season, and the plant is doing pretty well. It's growing, producing lots of foliage, but like I said before, that the foliage is pretty small. The leaves, it will look even nicer if it has even bigger leaves. So just make sure that your croton is receiving ample of sunlight, it's kept in a nice shaded area, that the soil is not overwatered. Water it when the topsoil is dry, and ensure that you fertilize it every 1.5 or 2 months or so, depending upon the size of your plant, so that it can maintain its happy, beautiful foliage and happy gardening.